Carl and Brendan here from Games, Brains and a Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial.com for short. You see in the title, it's Bloodstock 2022 band review. In this video, we are going to be specifically talking about the bands we saw over the weekend, our experience, our enjoyment, our dislike, all the things related to the actual music of the festival. There is another video, another review where we talk about the festival as a whole. Go check that out if you want to see us wax lyrical about toilets and fucking overpriced food and the sun, because that's no doubt a conversation piece about it. But for this, we want to focus on the music. There is a written review. Go to the website. If you don't want to hear us talk about it, go read us talk about it instead. But it's bands. And we saw plenty. We saw plenty. Never as much as we would like. Never as much as we plan, I think, to always see. Things ever get in your way. You kind of forget you got to eat, you got to stop, you got to rest, you got to drink, you got to do all this stuff. And you never really take that into account until you're there and you're like, I haven't eaten anything since 7 o'clock this morning and it's like 5 in the evening. I should probably eat something if I want to stay up on my feet till like 11 tonight, those sort of things. But I still think we did pretty fucking well. And I think we saw a really wide range. Probably the one stage I wish I'd spent more time at, I spend basically none at, was the Jaeger stage.
Yeah, I didn't watch a single band on the Jaeger stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was frustrating because there was at least one band there that I really wanted to see, and that was Sinkalima. I'm a big fan on, but yeah, it just didn't work out with other commitments. So what can you do?
What can you do? I passed by Sinkalima playing. I can't remember what I was going to do. I might have been going away to get rid of all the camera equipment at the time, but I did pass them by. I sounded like doing well. But yeah, the likes of like Swamp Coffin over there is a band I did want to check out. But again, we had other commitments. It is what it is. We there to enjoy the music, but you know, there is the press part as well. And we did quite a bit this year, quite a bit. Obviously, go check all those interviews up on YouTube. I must say, I think the majority of them, outside a few, are bloody good, and I'm satisfied with the end result. Particularly as our main microphone got broken 6 interviews in, so we had to revert to a backup for the remaining like 30 odd interviews. But it all worked out nice enough. So Thursday, we'll start with Thursday because that's when we rocked up. We rocked the Thursday, and we had interview commitments to begin with. We had interview commitments, so we didn't get to see the first few bands. I think the first band we both saw was Nano War Steel, right?
It was, yeah. That was the first one I saw.
Nightmare interview, but good band.
Yeah. They were very energizing, actually. You know, really, really enjoyed it. I was looking forward to it. I was going to remember saying before the festival, like, I was like, what? You know, like they could come out and play like 6 tracks. I don't even fucking know, because I know they got a reasonable catalog, and I don't know that much of it, but luckily they didn't. They played all the ones I would have wanted to hear, and yeah, they were a great festival opener for me, you know.
Yeah, I agree. I thoroughly enjoyed them. I did catch like a little bit of Thum on the way into the tent, but not enough to kind of like tell you anything about it other than it sounded, and the tent was nice and busy, and it sounded quite thick and meaty. But it's one of those where I can't really give you a review over it because I just didn't see enough. I think they were literally ending a song, the last song, as we arrived for that. But I enjoyed Nano Still, similar to you. I like this band, but again, I'm not that up in the big back catalogue. So the fact that we got some of the major hits, ending with a very cool rendition of Valhallelujah. In the written review, Brendan put what I think most of us were thinking about a certain point in that, which is, all right, what are you going to do with the Angus McFife segment? And what they did was accept like what you would expect, but it wasn't great.
He did all right. He did all right, but yeah, like he ain't gonna hit them notes, man. Ain't many people that would have.
No, which is,
I guess if anything, it's kind of strange because the guy that sings for Nano War Steel, the dude with the bald head and the mustache, he hits much higher notes. He's a much higher voice. So actually, probably would have been a better fit for that section, but there you go.
I do actually remember, like, considering it was Thursday, and by Sunday I'd forgotten like all the bands I'd seen early on as well. I do actually remember elements of Nano War Steel, in particular during like the guitar solo part and trying to do the dad dance that occurs from the video on the cliff, stuff like that. So it was good. It was good fun. Yeah. Necrogoblicon. So I really enjoyed them.
Yeah, I mean, it might have been one that like I'd enjoyed more if I knew more of the songs that were being played, you know, and I didn't.
Yep.
And I watched it and I was like, yeah, this is okay, it's fun and all that, you know. But that was about it. I never like at any point felt like 100% blown away. But I think if I would have been like a big fan of theirs and knew like the songs that were being played, maybe that would have been a difference maker. They were the first time hearing a lot of the songs, and I was just like watching, you know, and yeah, didn't really do an awful lot for me. And actually, I left like a song or two before they finished playing to go and get something to eat. So I felt like I'd seen enough.
No, that's fair enough. Fair enough. I think for us, they're actually ended up being quite a difficult position because we're coming off the back of Nana War Steel, and that kind of energized fun. And we were also heavily preparing for the band that would be the headliner that night as well, which was obviously a fairly big deal to our camp. But I do enjoy Necrogoblicon. I really kind of got to know them with the latest album more than anything else. I wouldn't say I knew them well before that. So when it came to that earlier music, I wasn't necessarily as connected, but I just remember a lot of tight, good music that I ended up really, really enjoying. So that's why I've kind of reflected on that one quite positively. Yeah. Which brings us to the headliner of the Thursday. The band we saw, it was, of course, Dark Tranquillity. Probably one of your most anticipated of the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was really looking forward to it, more so because I'd seen them earlier in the year. You know, so at that point they were a bucket list band, and I saw them. And I guess sometimes that can mean that because they're no longer on the bucket list, that it doesn't matter so much that they're playing at Bloodstock. But actually seeing them play live had the opposite effect for me with these, which was like, wow, these guys are fucking good. They know how to perform, which just made it more exciting that I was going to see them again. So I think they are a superb band anyway, outside of live performances. But I think sometimes when we've seen it before at Bloodstock, we saw it last year with Onslaught, you know, that sometimes like you can tell like you kind of just look at each other and go like, yeah, these are headliners.
Yep.
Like, you know, whether it's the sound or the stage presence or the crowd interaction, you know, you can see the difference sometimes between them and the bands that played before them. I know it sounds disrespectful, but it's just not. It's just, I mean, it's the bar that people want to get to, right? Surely, you know. And Dark Tranquillity, they sound phenomenal. Like they really do. Like they sound record level. Their guitars are ring clear. You know, they're subtle with the stage show. Mikkel is a phenomenal singer and has a very good heavy voice as well. So also the set list was great for me. You know, it was a lot of songs that I'm a big fan of, you know, which is can make the difference sometimes, you know. It's the, you know, if they come out and go, hey, we're playing at Bloodstock, let's just do like stuff from our first album and try and like do the heavier shit, I'm gonna be a very disappointed young man, you know.
Yeah.
But instead, you know, we got some stuff of Toma, we got like, yeah, for me it was the perfect ending for the Thursday, really. Couldn't have gone any better.
Yeah, second everything you say. I mean, I'm not on the same level with you in regards to fandom, but it was nice for me to hear a lot more tracks that I was very familiar with, particularly the stuff from Toma, where you really kind of got a bit more melody in the music as well as that. I think a strong memory I have from it is the frontman, quite watchable, very, very watchable, kind of eyes drawn to him a lot of the time. I have one criticism, but not so much for Dark Tranquillity, more for Bloodstock more than anything else. And I mean, it's not, oh, you shouldn't have put them there, whatever, like, because whatever the circumstances are as to why Dark Tranquillity played the Thursday, I'm sure there are reasons. But that's a band that should have been main staging. That's a band at main stage. That's a band at main stage is 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, easily, in my opinion. And that would have been just as cool, I think. But at least we have this unique Sophie Lancaster Thursday night headline show to have, because I don't think they'd ever do that again.
Yeah, I agree. I think Dark Tranquillity, you see it at European festivals. Look at any build at Dark Tranquillity play in European festivals. These guys are at the top of the poster. You know.
Agreed. And that's our Thursday done. If we didn't see, we did, you know, I mean, it cuts me up deep, bro. It cuts me up deep that we had to miss Basement Torture Killings. We were the first band on that stage, but unfortunately we had an interview commitment that cut right into the middle of their set, so we couldn't go before or even after. Gonna make
we sent our groupies though, so we kind of made up for it there, or wives as they're otherwise known, as they went along, and the feedback was very positive. They had a good time. So
absolutely. And yeah, brings us to Friday, and we did start off early. Thankfully, our interview commitments on Friday was starting, I think, around 2:30. So we kind of had a little bit of time in the morning to make sure, and thank God we did, because ultimately a band we really wanted to see. As much almost gratifying as if to almost, I wanted to stand there at certain points during Red Method's main stage show, look around and go, told ya. We've been saying this for a while, you dicks. But no, I mean, that sounds really arrogant and silly, because Red Method have more than earned this position and been making their own voice, and people across this country paying attention to them. The biggest thing I take away from this, other than just being a blast, a lot of fun, a lot of energy, is that how well they belonged on that stage, how they gave a bit of a show that early in the morning. They really went for it. I was impressed. I love Red Method, and this, I can't see them ever being any lower than this again.
Yeah, they have to really drop a ball to like start going backwards. But yeah, you can't see it because they're very dedicated and very hardworking. I thought they were phenomenal. Really got the crowd going, like genuinely got the crowd going. Pits, everything like that. They had a few like technical difficulties, but I don't think that's their fault, because we saw it crop up time and again across the main stage over the weekend, with the mics cutting out and all that. But yeah, I agree everything you said. Like the little bit of the show and all that was great, but like, you know, in a way, their music kind of speaks for itself. Like to a degree, like if there weren't no flares, there weren't nothing like that, it wouldn't have made any difference. I don't think. It was cool that it was there, but it was the music that was pulling people in, and that's like even better. They're eye catching. You know, they really are. Musically, like they got it all. They really have. Like they just look like, I don't know, like just I can't see how they could. Yeah, it's one of those things. I can't see how they could put a foot wrong, but then like a lot of these stuff will now be like you know, it's next album time, and seeing where that kind of goes. But I think they're a phenomenal band, one of the best kind of underground talents that are bursting out of the underground that we've got in the UK.
I don't think it's hyperbole to say in a couple of years' time, if Red Method continue the trajectory they are on, that they will be a Sophie Lancaster stage headliner the next time round. I can see that. It should also be noted, if you all watched any of the interviews that were done for Bloodstock 2022, you'll see the introduction to those interviews all uses the same bit of footage of a circle pit. That was Red Method. That was taken during Red Method. So champion to them. Okay, I think this was just me. I popped over the New Blood tent to catch a bit of Erosis, who are super energetic, bringing some nice headbanging noise. Wanted to check out a bit of them. I think, go to drink, grabbed and watched them, and we were in there for the next band off that as well. But you really like Erosis, really like the fact that that early in the morning as well, you know you've got a job to do. You know you've got to really, really bring it, and they absolutely brought it.
Yeah, I don't think I was there. I think I might have come along getting ready for the band after it and caught like the end of it. But like if I did, I've got no memory of it.
Fair enough. Well, we were there for the next band, and it was I Fight Bears. I talked this band up a fair bit before. I think maybe more than anything else, the South Wales Melted to the Masses winners, and was kind of put them as one of my most anticipated of the weekend. So, you know, unsurprisingly for me, they delivered. But what did you think?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought they were very, very good. You know, now looking back on everything, I'm sure like the same for anyone who's been there with the Festival Blues and all that, trying to pick out the bands that I saw and remember exactly which one was I Fight Bears. I remember being in there. I remember enjoying it. I remember it being quite bouncy and energetic and, you know, like a nice blend as well of kind of melody and kind of crunchy like riffs and that whole kind of core vibe sort of thing. I remember enjoying it. I remember coming out of there saying that I enjoyed it. But if you'd have asked me to pick a moment or a song where like, I'm blurred.
Yeah.
I know. I remember. I do remember like thinking in my head like these better be good because you did big them up a lot, and that they did live up to expectations. I remember talking about that. So yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, I really, really, really enjoyed them. And again, it's a band I can see coming back probably sooner rather than later and hit the Sophie stage next. Okay, we kind of got stuck here. We had interviews. We had a fair few interviews, probably spread over a nice 3-hour period. But we did have a couple of gaps near the end of about half an hour between, like, I think, like Lorna Shore and Avatar and things like that. So you utilized a big gap in that to go see Gwa. I stayed behind and look up the equipment. Tell us what you saw.
Carnage. is what I saw. As you would expect, packed crowd. Obviously, I think probably could have predicted that though. You know, a lot of people wanted to catch a bit of the mayhem and the madness, and it was madness. It's part insane theatrical performance, part musical show. It's very difficult to kind of explain. We all know what they look like. We all know what they wear. The fucking heat wearing that shit must have been unbearable, man. The thing about GWAR is like if you can look past the carnage and the woman getting her fake tits cut off and spraying the stumps all over the people at the front of the stage as they keep pumping blood through them. The skirt being lifted and a 12-inch penis rolling out onto the floor. Like if you can get past all of that, and I do understand that if you're gonna go that heavy on your visuals, then sometimes people ain't gonna get past that. Musically, they're tight as fuck, man. They really are. They sounded fucking great, you know. So yeah, I only caught like maybe, I don't know, 2-3 songs, something like that. And in that time, I heard a couple of songs I knew. One from their most recent work called Liar. I watched a woman get her tits cut off. I watched a guy get his head cut off. I watched a crowd get sprayed in untold amounts of red dyed water or whatever the fuck it is that's spraying on you, but blood. I watched some weird, I don't even know what he was, guy come on and then have an argument with him on stage, and then like a sort of leprechaun thing, and then running around the stage bit by bit, and then I watched a battle between two demons happening in the background while they sang another song. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a spectacle. But you know, I 3 songs, like it's enough of a sample to know that they were very good. There was enough there watching the crowd, watching the smiles on people's face, the enjoyment, the pits, everything like that. Crowd surfers going all over, people all dressed up in the crowd and that. Like you could see that they were a good booking, man, and they lived up to it.
They clearly left an impression, even in that short amount of time.
Yeah, like it's hard to explain what you're seeing, like, to be honest with you, like
it's absurdity, right?
You can't take your eyes off the stage. That's the thing. You know what I mean? Like it's, you can't start talking around because there's so much happening all the time. And obviously, because it's a live performance, everyone's drinking and all that. No, with all the stuff being sprayed on the crowd and all that, it ain't like people are shying away from that. People are fighting to get to the front. I want to be sprayed with her blood. You know what I mean? Like it's nothing short of insanity.
Yeah.
But like with a soundtrack of really cool rock music,
Yeah, I wish I'd seen a bit of it. I really do. Such as life. But we had packed up. We had kind of got to the end there. And I think we had planned to go to the New Blood stage, basically to reunite as a group for a specific band. I think everyone would have to get some food and drink and stuff like that. I ended up watching a few tracks of Exodus on the main stage. It's Exodus. It was thrash. It was solid. It was nice. Only watched a couple of tracks before we went to the New Blood stage. And it's very important. And we dragged everyone we were with on the promise that they were going to be impressed. And everyone we were with was impressed because it was only fucking Fire Sky.
Yeah, they were phenomenal.
Yeah.
Really, really phenomenal. I know we say that about a lot of bands when we like a band, but like the performance at half hour, like they owned every second of it, Yeah, it's difficult to put into words, but considering some of the bands we saw play that weekend, some bucket list bands, some phenoms that we'll talk about as we get to them. Like Fire Sky's half-hour performance in the New Blood stage was up there as one of the best performances of the whole weekend, which is amazing.
Well, spoilers for the end, but we are going to do a top 3 bands of the weekend. So try and remember what you're saying here in regards to that, because
no pressure now.
We might as well do some rankings if that's the case. But yeah, no, I second is phenomenal performance in the New Blood stage. Gratifying to see them reach this point. Some pride in the sense that we've followed them for a little while. So it was kind of cool to see them reach this stage. I hope it continues based off what we've seen, based on seeing the growth over the last couple of years and how good they've become. I just can't see why they can't come back and do even better. It was awesome. It was awesome. It was awesome as well because when I say gratifying, I don't mean in the sense that we're like looking at other people in the audience, because a lot of those people also, they're there because they know Fire Sky are good. But the people we're with, so for example, a friend of ours, my son, even partners to a degree, I guess, to some degree.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You want to be like, look, we said they were good.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess I don't mean this in an insulting way, like towards Dan, but Dan has a specific music taste of which you wouldn't naturally put Fire Sky in it. So him more so than anybody to be like him at the end of it was like, wow, okay, they're fucking good.
Yeah,
damn, that was brilliant. You know, that like, you know, you're turning like a young kind of hardcore warrior listening to Fire Sky and going, yeah, fucking hell, I get it, that's brilliant.
100%. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. That's the best thing Fire Sky could have done. Okay, so from that point, we were very insistent that even though we were going to be very early, we had to be in the tent for this next band because it was going to be Avatar. We walked past the main stage. I don't know where you went. I maybe gone to get a toilet or drink or whatever and stuff like that. But I sort of slowly ambled across, as you do across that field, watching a bit of Testament. It's almost because they clashed with Fire Sky and were leading into Avatar. I didn't have the bravery to kind of go, oh, I can watch 2 or 3 songs because I was worried I'd miss or fuck up one of the other 2 bands I really wanted to see, because I am a fan of Testament. And that Slow Walk Over, man, they sounded awesome. They really, really did. Another time there'd been a must fucking see. But we were going to the Sophie stage. There was no way in hell we were even going to risk being blocked out of that tent for Avatar. And it's up there. It's still up there as potentially the best show of the weekend.
My first time seeing them as well, you know, it was a big deal for me. That was a big deal. It's one of those weird things, right? Because I know like enough. It's weird. I feel like I've seen Avatar 100 times, right? I've watched like so many fucking sets online and Avatar ages. That was like 4 weeks in a row, the whole month of my life dedicated to live Avatar. Watched the most recent Hellfest performance that they put on there. You know, I've been all over it, watching it, and I feel like I've seen them a million times. But obviously, this was actually the first time, like real in person. There they are, and it was quite a surreal feeling in a way, because normally there's a little bit of apprehension, as in like, please be good, please be good, please be good. But I didn't have that doubt at all, because I don't know if it's the air of confidence that they bring to the stage, that persona that they put on, or the fact that I've seen all these streams and I don't think I've ever seen any point where Avatar played a show and people have gone, oh, they weren't at their best tonight.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? I haven't seen that. So I guess I took an arrogant assumption that this is going to be brilliant.
Yep.
And I remember, like, I've got so many memories from it. Like, and that's the great thing, you know, when a performance has had like an impact on you, because I can like pick out so many specifics. But I remember even at the very beginning, standing there looking at the stage, watching them trying to hang the big fucking Avatar lights on that bar, and then they couldn't lift the bar because it was too heavy and they had to take all the lights off. Yeah. And that was about 20 minutes after they spent ages changing the fucking bulbs because some of the lights weren't there. And then changed all the bulbs, put them on, and then they were like, oh, we gotta lift the fucking bar, take them all back off again. And it was like, you know, but then I remember noticing like there was like, there's a main drum kit. Why is there another little drum kit at the side of the stage, and all that sort of stuff? And just like little moments like that. That whole, what was it, an hour? I think it was an hour, wasn't it? They had roughly. It felt like it passed in seconds, but at the same time was fulfilling and gratifying all the way through. An intelligent, proper festival-styled set list. You know what I mean? Like nothing too much on the side of rarity or anything like that. It was like, you know, we can come out there, got an hour, gonna hit him with the bangers. Yeah. And even the encore, like even ending with like Hail the Apocalypse, you know, it was just like that was a nice that kind of Bloodstock thing, because a lot of the sets I've ever seen them play, that's often an opener. Yeah. You know, but they came out and they kind of took a different tact of it. And I don't know, maybe it's like a Bloodstock crowd. Let's fucking leave them with Hail the Apocalypse. And it was, yeah, I mean, I had a blast. I had an absolute blast. I loved every minute of it.
100% agree. Yeah, you know, from the opening part to the opening with Colossus, but having that tight circle with that one single drum kit, and then when we're standing to attention, was just such an eye-opening wow. Because this is the most stripped back Avatar show I'd ever seen. It's probably the most stripped back Avatar show you may ever see, because like I said, without even getting the lights up, it felt like, okay, this is the most stripped back could possibly be. But the set list was such a best of. It was simply phenomenal. From the banter from Johannes, similar banter you might have heard before, but it's the lead into the songs, it's the build, it all works so fucking wonderfully. And of course, you know, there was a moment right near the end that will live long in the memory. Now, it actually ties back to the interview, so go check out the interview and see we spoke to the drummer. And there's a point at the end of the interview where I'd spent a lot of time kind of bigging him up, talking about Avatar. I love the band, so like I'm going to praise him till I have and talk to him. And he kind of went, and he was trying to be humble, and he just stopped himself and goes, "No, fuck being humble. It was about being headliners. He was like, oh fuck it, yeah, we deserve it. We're that good." And it was like, that's what I fucking adore, that, because it's true. So to have Johannes come out basically in that sleazy, laughy way he does, ladies and gentlemen, I think we just stole the show. I remember looking at you and just being like, fuck. Like, that was goosebump moments. Because you were like,
absolutely. Yeah. And like, it was so like genuine as well, because like I remember it so clearly. Like, he didn't look at us when he said it, and that's what I loved about it. He was watching the crowd preparing, like it was in whatever, like a solo or whatever like that, and then he turned around and did like with little weird march and whatnot, and he was walking back like towards the drummer, and that's when he said it. So it's almost like he looked at the crowd and just thought, fuck yeah, turned around, they went, ladies and gentlemen, I think we just stole the show. Like, having just seen what the crowd was doing. And I think that's amazing, because there's a fine line between like arrogance and confidence, and the difference is with whether you're right or not. And the simple fact of the matter was, as we found for the rest of that night, that they had literally just stolen and destroyed the show almost, you know.
100%, it did cause a problem, because then, of course, we trotted off to see Behemoth, a band we both like, a band we both respect, the band we both expected to give us a spectacular show, which they did. But the overriding memory for me is always going to be, I just could not get into it after Avatar. I was just too buzzed, too into that I'm watching Behemoth thinking, yeah, this is quality, and I know I should be right bang into this and all that, but all I'm thinking is, yeah, this is good. That's it.
That was the problem, yeah. Like, you know, obviously we went over there. They our first song, like, you know, we had more mic problems with no vocals at all for the whole of the first track. But once that come in, they sounded fucking great. They sounded phenomenal. You know, they were on point. They really were good. But all I kept thinking in my head, I was just replaying moments from the Avatar show. That's what I was doing. I was really enjoying Behemoth, but then I was like, turned to my missus and be like, remember when your hands did this? And it kind of became apparent like that. Not in a negative way, because you know, I was okay with it. It wasn't like, oh fuck you, Avatar, you've ruined everything for me. You know, it was okay. I just like, you know, yeah, do you know what? It's fine. Avatar literally did steal the show. So Behemoth, I thought they sounded really, really good. I thought they, you know, like, I think like if it hadn't been Avatar beforehand, I think I'd probably be waxing lyrical about it, saying like, yeah, that was fucking amazing. I think they were probably that good. It was just different. It was too different after Avatar.
Agreed. And that would have wrapped it up, but I decided I wanted to go check out a little bit of Sleep Token. Curiosity more than anything else. Obviously, a much lauded band, much talked about band, and I reviewed the last album, the latest album, and I liked it, but I couldn't quite understand why everyone was saying next big thing. So I figured, well, let's see it live then, right? Because that's got to be the case. Truth be told, I don't necessarily think this is Sleep Token's fault, but I found it utterly exhausting and draining. The ambient sound was put me to sleep. So I watched a couple of tracks and went, you know what, this ain't working for me. Don't know if it's, you know, it's part their fault, because, you know, it was quite, you know, ambient. You know, so the lack of energy, you know, I from what I heard from people, it did get a bit more lively as it went on. But that like first sort of period of time, I'm standing there and I'm going, okay, I think I might need to go to bed. You know, that kind of thing. So I did. I went home. I went back to the tent to go to bed. Did you do anything else, or did you call it?
No, we went back to what was this? It was a Friday night.
Friday, yeah.
So I'm trying to work out. I can't remember which one it was. It was either the Thursday, Friday night. We went to walk back to the tent, and then me and Nick decided to stay up for a bit. So we went back and had some drinks in the surface layer till about 1:30 in the morning.
I think it was Friday. I think, yeah, I remember you telling me about it on Saturday morning. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I did actually genuinely plan to go and see Sleep Token, for the same reasons you are. Not a fan, lots of fuss about it. That your son kept going on about it to me, and I was like, all right, I'll try and make a point. But the reason I didn't go to see Sleep Token was the same reason that I guess why I wasn't really into Behemoth. You know, I was still just riding a high from Avatar, and I was like, now look, you know, ain't gonna. If Behemoth didn't cut it for me, I ain't gonna cut it for me. Like, do you know what I mean? I can't watch anyone else now. I've seen the headliner.
No,
you know, so yeah.
Yeah, I completely understand that. But thankfully, as we hit Saturday, there would be a band who start the day off to banish the kind of thing by delivering a banging show. We popped over to the New Blood stage, for the very start of the morning to check out Collected. And wow, this was so unexpected. Thought they were going to be good. Did not expect them to be as phenomenal as they were.
Yeah, I agree. I genuinely absolutely blown away. I remember being really tired, like really not feeling being up and about sort of yet, like going in there to watch them, but at the same time very keen. And took like less than a track to be like, kind of on your feet, like, yeah, this is fucking great, man. I really thought that they I felt like they threw a lot into the show, and I felt like that was kind of infectious to watch. It was emotional, it was heavy, but it wasn't only heavy, it was also melodic and passionate. And I was really impressed with them. My lasting thing that I kept thinking about after these was that, and I thought they had a good crowd, and you could tell that everybody that was there watching it was enjoying it, but was that in a way like they deserved to be like a bit later. Like
Yeah.
actually on that performance, like I was like, oh god, I wish you guys could have got like a 6 o'clock slot or something like that, because I think this place would have been heaving for you.
Yeah, they did brilliantly. Well done them. It was the Sophie Lancaster stage, where probably one of the more anticipated points of the weekend, of several bands in a row playing. That's where we were planning to hook up. But along the way, I stopped briefly to check out a bit of Beast on the main stage. Kind of phenomenal. They are. I'd seen them quite recently in the Black Heart, so it was no surprise that they were doing great in the main stage. But mainly, it was to get the Sophie tent in time for Mastiff. I'm going to take this one away to begin with. Oh my god. Oh my god. I remember excitedly running back to you at the end of Mastiff and being like, they might be the best band of the weekend. And you looked at me with such disdain and been like, you don't mean that. What about Avatar? And I was like, all right, well, give me a moment and maybe they'll be on that kind of thing. But I absolutely fucking love this. This was phenomenal. I probably did the most headbanging heavy stuff I've done in this alone. It was cool as well because, of course, Dan came not really knowing anything, fell so in love with it that he ended up pitting to them. Just absolutely phenomenal. One of the best bands of the weekend, up there for me, still alongside Avatars. Just what a moment, man. Absolutely loved it.
I liked them too. I did enjoy them very much. I said beforehand, and it was true that I was kind of like on the periphery through the albums. I was enjoying them, but I wasn't quite understanding the mad kind of adoration that you were having for them. I was like, get it good, but come on. There's lots of good bands out there. And then so a lot of me wanting to go and see them was to kind of either confirm my belief that they weren't as good as people think they are, or to shoot me, happily be shot down and go, yeah, no, I get it now. And I definitely fell more on the latter side of it, as in, yeah, okay, I definitely get this a lot more now. I remember saying to like one of the people that we were with again, like it was a bit later in the day, we were talking about some other bands, and he asked me, he said like, oh, are they heavy? I can't remember who we were talking about, but anyway, whoever it was, and I said like, and I remember saying something to him about, oh, like that whole term's kind of gone now, because like I said bands are heavy all the time, but then like we watch Mastiff, and that shit's fucking heavy. No one else is heavy now. Like like blowing amps up and stuff, man. Like it was fucking, I don't know, it wasn't like chaotic, like, do you know what I mean? Like it was just fucking deep and like rumbly and fucking like truly heavy. I enjoyed them a lot. I thought they were really good. I really did. I preferred, or like I prefer it like I said, it fell me more in the camp now of having seen them live, and kind of it's not just them, but also seeing the atmosphere and seeing the people, and the kind of energy in the pits and all that sort of stuff, that I feel like I get it a bit more now, which is obviously a good thing.
And one of the few bands that we saw to get a solid fuck the Tories chant going as well, which was quite an amusing moment. Weirdly, you said the word chaos as well, which brings us to the next band who knows chaotic noise and heaviness and melody and the melting pot that is Pupil Slicer, a band I do absolutely adore. Bloodstock marked the third time I'd seen them this year. In fact, so you can say I've seen plenty of Pupil Slicer. In fact, it had been a week before that I'd just seen them, but I was still as stoked to see them up. Plus, as much because I knew it was a big deal and a big fucking crowd. going to come see them because there's been a lot of buzz about them. I thought they did really, really, really fucking well. I understand why some people may not have been able to get into it. I had a lot of discussions about it afterwards, about the whole kind of buzzy kind of chaos that comes with it. But for me, it's just so beautiful to my ears. I love it.
Yeah, and I'm like the other side of the camp, and I mean, not as in like I dislike it, but as in like I at times found myself completely disconnected from it and just sort of drifting and thinking like, what the fuck is going on?
Yep.
Like, you know, and then at times I found myself straight back in with a catchy kind of riff and whatnot and being like, yeah, this is fucking great. And then a little bit later on, I'm drifting again, thinking like, they're just stop holding the guitar near the amp, man. What the fuck are you doing? Like, play a string, hit the string, you know, and start shouting. Like, I get what they're doing. I respect it. I just think like, you know, if this is the music you're going to go for, you are going to end up with people like this. You know, that's the simple fact. There are going to be people that ain't going to get it. And I am currently one of them. I'm intrigued by them. I thought they were very, very good on stage. I like, you know, in terms of the stage presence, the sound, everything like that. My complaint is really, really basic and really, really simple. And that is just that I find some of the songs, it's not even some of the songs, it's sections of the songs. That's the thing. Quite difficult to follow. And because of that, I don't get the same enjoyment out of them as I do when, you know, I've got a beat and I've got a riff and, you know, I can headbang along and I've got a time, you know, that I can keep. And, you know, so yeah, I think they're an intriguing kind of band. I don't know how you go with this stuff, man. That's the thing. Like, is this a novelty? Like, how far do you go with this sort of like chaos? Like, there's not a level like, do you know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna like be playing like the Dio stage in a few years' time, or headlining a Sophie tent with by just being pure, you know, a mixture of this and anarchy. And that's fine if that's not like what the aim is. That's the thing. I just think like I think there's a lot in their stuff that I can see the talent and I can see what you could be. I'm on the fence of like, drop some of that other shit, man. Do that stuff. That's fucking great. You know? So yeah, I mean, I'm happy for them. And like I said, I know I'm not in a majority because they had a decent crowd and a lot of very fucking happy people. So it's just one of those things, man. I keep an eye on them, you know. Hopefully it'll grow on me, you know.
Fair enough. There's nothing wrong with that when you explain yourself so succinctly. The next band was one that should have worked for us. Really should have, considering the simplicity of it just being straight up hardcore. But I don't know, man. I don't know kind of what went wrong here. Not went wrong, because that sounds like it was terrible. It really wasn't the case. I've thought about it afterwards, and I put it down to the fact that I knew we were about to hit a 3-hour block of interviews where it literally was one after another for almost 2 hours straight. And I think that was weighing on my mind a little bit, like to give Cage Fight a little bit of a break in regards to why maybe I didn't get as into it as I wished I did. But ultimately, when I kind of reflected, I'm like, yeah, you know what? It was fine. But it didn't blow me away as I had hoped it would.
Yeah, well, for me, like, I guess I don't know where to attribute it to be honest with you. Yeah. I would say that going into watching Cage Fight, I was more on the fence of like, oh, they're an okay band anyway. It's not 100% my cup of tea, but they're an okay band. I actually think like in a way it was possibly killed for me more from other people telling me how fucking awesome they were going to be.
Really?
Because what that did is big up the bar in me, and I went in there going, okay, maybe like maybe I need to pay more fucking attention here. So then I'm like, right, bring it. And then I was like, no, it's still just okay. Like, it's, you know, and they sounded good, you know, like there was no problems in the set. It just lacked, I don't know what it lacked. It lacked one thing, like something to just raise it up one more level, you know, to be like, okay, yeah, you're blowing me away now. So I come out of there thinking like, yeah, that was okay. Same as I thought on record.
Fair enough. I think me and Dan can take the blame for that one then. I think we were the big part. Yeah, so as I said, we had probably the busiest schedule we've ever had at Bloodstock. Not that that's a complaint at all. It was absolutely spectacular. And when it came like time to wrap up and leave, we decided to head off the New Blood stage to catch Imperium. They were going to be over there. And it was like, yeah, this was one of the bands I want to see every weekend. Fantastic. We get to see them. Hope they're good.
Yeah, it's one of those ones, isn't it?
Yeah, they were excellent.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, genuinely, like, it's hard to put into words how much I enjoyed Imperium. I really, like, we say it every year, right? And it's true. Some of the best fans at this festival were in that stage, man, that New Blood stage. We were talking to Imperium round while we were doing our interviews, like, I didn't even know they were London Metal to the Masses winners, for example. And I was like, oh shit, that's a all Metal to the Masses winners deserve credit and respect. Don't get me wrong, but we're all aware that the London one's a tough fucking ask. It's a lot of heat, it's a lot of bands, So when they, and they were like very nice people. So having a conversation with them is like, yeah, so go and check it out. And like you said, there is always that little bit with like, oh, please be good. There really is. It's like, God, I don't want to come out of this. I'll see him like in the campsite in a couple of hours' time. We'd be like, how was it? We're like, oh shit. Not that we would ever say that, but
of course.
But yeah, like, I just loved it. I loved it. I thought, like, as a front man, he had presence, he had energy, he had strong voice. That whole thing that we get with the New Blood bands, Collected, Fire Sky, all of these guys, man, looking like they are living the fucking dream, big grins on their faces, really throwing themselves into everything that they're doing. Great guitarist as well. Yeah, I thought Imperium absolutely owned it, man. Really, really impressed by them.
Second everything you say. Everything you say, loved it, thoroughly enjoyed it. Proper re-energization after an exhausting set of interviews. Didn't expect it to be as good as it was. Just came out super fucking satisfied, which made it a tough job for Tribe of Ghosts to kind of follow that, particularly as well as it seemed like they were going to be playing and clashing with Dimmu Borgir. Well, Dimmu would end up being quite late, so that kind of didn't matter in the end. But I stayed. I think you went off to catch Dimmu, and I stayed to do Tribe of Ghosts. And I was quite excited and intrigued for Tribe of Ghosts as well, because it was going to be something quite different. That kind of electronic industrial post, a bit more mellow, a bit more melodramatic, and elements like that was kind of quite on my street. At first, I kind of struggled to get into it because I was coming off the back of Imperium, thinking about Dimmu as well and all that. But I ended up really liking what Tribe of Ghosts do. It's something was quite unique for the festival. It refreshed my palate almost to a certain degree, where I was like, yeah, that was a lot of fun to watch. Really liked the band as well. Very excited to see this direction they're going. Now they've kind of found their sound. This was a good confirmation of that, particularly in the live environment, and to see big things for this band in the future.
Yeah, that's cool. I could have got to see them now, obviously, with Dimmu being so late, but yeah, I didn't.
Dimmu, Ben, fucking Dimmu Borgir. Now, I'm going to jump in with my words first, because I know we've kind of got different views in this. Now, I do think what I heard and saw of Dimmu when they were playing was solid, spectacular, and all that. But just once again, I come away disappointed. The late thing just did my nut, and I was like, you're having a fucking laugh. Really? Again? You did this last time we were at fucking Bloodstock. What is it now? What's the problem? I don't know. I don't know if it was a setlist issue. I don't know if there was a problem on the stage. I don't know what it was. But when it came out, they knocked out all the sort of good stuff they've got going on. Basically a best of, but it was super short, no show. Again, just nothing. And I came out going, you know what, man, I'm kind of done with this band. You're fine, but you're not doing anything for me anymore, and I'm getting kind of tired of your shit.
Yeah, I guess like it was very different for me because at least as far as I'm aware, it's the first time I've seen them play. As far as it's one of those whole, I don't know if I've seen them, but I'm pretty sure it's the first time I've seen them play. So I was as frustrated as I'm sure anyone there was when 15, 20 minutes went past and like they still went out.
Yeah.
And you could see the sound text running back up and constantly back and forward, back and forward, back and forward. So they obviously weren't happy with something. So the fact that I'd heard from you like the problems that you've seen with them in the past, that was kind of like, I guess, starting to like play on my mind as well now. I was like, oh, this isn't good, is it? This is a problem. So it was kind of strange, I guess. The first time I saw Dimmu, I only really saw them play like 4 or 5 tracks. That was all they really did because they didn't have any time. Like you said, there weren't much in the way of a stage show, a little bit of smoke, and he stood there with like a skull on his hands a couple of times.
Yeah.
Like, hey, look what I've got.
I'm evil.
But the 4 or 5 songs they played, I really enjoyed. That's the thing. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that they were billed as being like an hour long and they'd come on and that was meant to be half an hour and they did their 4 or 5 tracks an hour, I'd be saying that was fucking brilliant. So, overall, it's a sense of disappointment because of the position they were in the lineup and the fact that it ended up being such a short set. And it's frustrating for me too, because like I could see enough in that half hour that they played or 45 minutes or 40 minutes or whatever that I'm like, oh man, I feel like I've been ripped off for the other 20 minutes, because I'm really enjoying this. Where's my other 20 minutes? So yeah, but I'm not quite at a point where I'm done with them because it was the first time. Like, do you know what I mean? It's easy for me to be like, oh, okay, Oh, the first time I've seen them play, they only messed up. Like, it wasn't. I'm sure it wasn't their fault. I'll give them another crack, and then they do it again, and fuck them.
Yeah, folks, I will want to add to this. I'm not just heavily critical of Dimmu Borgir because of the last time played Bloodstock. I've seen this band a few times over the years, and I've seen them both play spectacularly. Somewhere like the Islington Academy, when he did a very stripped back show, and it was spectacular. Or the Forum, the last time I saw them in person, like at their own show, where I thought they shit the bed. So that's where it kind of comes from. That's where my annoyance comes from. And that was kind of it, because we were leading up to the headliner of the Saturday night. And I hope it's no secret, we did a track by track, but we'll put it out here again. Merciful Fate. Get why people were stoked for it. Get why people were kind of into it, why they wanted to see it. A little bit of a bucket list purely for both of us, so we could kind of tick that box and say we saw it. But neither of us were excited for this, because I speak for both of us here. Neither of us like them. It's as simple as that. Neither of us like them. It's just as that. So I stayed and watched, I think, about half an hour, maybe 20 to 30 minutes of it, I think, from the start. And I was wowed by what I saw on stage. The show looked spectacular. It was impressive. It looked really suitably evil and stuff like that. We were there, in fact, we were there early enough to get to see that whole Becky Baldwin thing, which turned out to be, they just wanted her to go up so she could meet King Diamond and stuff like that. So like that was an odd moment and a weird one overall in regards to that. But we were there for that, so we saw the whole curtain come down, the whole stair thing and stuff like that. But I left after about half an hour going, well, I've seen enough. Still not for me. Looks like everybody who did want to see him were having a great time. That was it.
Yeah, I didn't make it that long. I think I did the first 2 tracks, and I was like, yeah, I'm done.
Cool.
Yeah, there's enough going on that you don't need to force yourself to watch bands you're not into, and leave people to their enjoyment and move on.
Yeah, I think it's very, very important aspect to look at it, where it's just like, hey, it ain't for me. I ain't got to stand there and force myself to watch it kind of thing. There's plenty to do around Bloodstock. Go sit down, have some beer, that kind of thing. But I did want to check out a little bit of Malevolence in the Sophie tent. But I'll be honest, man, again, similar to it when we've been on your feet since, well, for us band-wise, it was 10:30. All the interviews, the sun, the heat. I was fucking exhausted. And that tent was heaving. And I don't always love the kind of crowds that bands like Malevolence pull in. So I watched a couple, thought they were doing well, and went, cool, off I go.
Yeah, we did the exact same thing. Me and the missus, we walked in, went around the back of the sound desk, tried to get around to like the normal sort of space we go to, realized we weren't going to make it anywhere in there. So we watched a little bit from the back of the sound desk, and then we're just like, yes, this is shit. And not musically, but just like,
the experience.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, can't really see anything, can't get any closer. Let's just knock on the head.
Yeah, absolutely. Which brings us to the last day and waking up to find out that Life of Agony had pulled out. Thanks to some spotty internet, we managed to get some connections to find it. A Life of Agony had pulled out and some bands had been moved around. Hint, Bloodstock, maybe use those big screens to tell people things. I know that's a criticism that everyone is throwing out there, but it was a criticism last year and it's a criticism again this year. Are you going to fucking do something like learn and just do that? Yeah. If you can put up an announcement and sign saying Becky Baldwin come here the night before, you can put up Life of Agony no longer playing, Vended moved to this time, Scarlet Riot, which is the first band we ended up seeing, moved to the main stage instead of, because of the internet is so spotty, it's quite frustrating. But we did go and check out Scarlet Riot, who moved from the Sophie stage a little later on to the main stage. Yeah, I enjoyed Scarlet Riot.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah, enough so that I've decided to stay and watch them all the way through. Yeah, I just thought they were good. I found them quite cleansing, for the first kind of band on the Sunday morning when you're tired and grimy and like, that sort of thing. And I found like the kind of cleaner melodic stuff quite welcoming, actually. I thought they were very good. I thought they were good with the crowd. They had more sound issues, like mic issues.
Yeah,
she went through like 4 or 5 mics. Ended up having to take the bassist or the guitarist mic and like standing over to the one side of the stage to sing while there was people running about everywhere, changing batteries or whatever the fuck they said, doing banging things, going, oh, work, what's wrong with it? But I thought like, yeah, it's clean, it's catchy music, it's nice, it is like, it's kind of cleansing, It
is. It was cool. It was nice. A nice little break as well from the heaviness that you kind of obviously get predominantly for Bloodstock.
Yeah.
So system has worked quite nicely. Tough ask to pull in a crowd on a Sunday morning. I think they did pretty well in that front, as did Pollution, who were the opening band in the Sophie stage that I went to go see. Checked them out as well. Thought they did really, really well. You could kind of tell that the crowd, except for a hardcore sort of point at the front, everyone was fucking tired, man. You could just kind of tell. But I think Pollution did a really good job of trying to energize people, trying to get them together. It's probably weirdly enough, ended up being one of the best sounding in the Sophie tent, like for clarity, over the weekend, because it sounded really strong and clear and every nuance. So I ended up really enjoying them. But you went somewhere else, didn't you? You went to New Blood.
Yeah, so I wanted to check out Vended on the main stage, so I had a bit of a gap. So I was like, right, let's just pop into the New Blood to see what's going on in there. And the band Sweet May, who I didn't really know anything about, but you know, it's the New Blood stage, isn't it? So you don't necessarily need to, just go and see what's happening. If I don't like it, move on. So yeah, we stayed in there for about 15-20 minutes of their set. Bluesy, very bluesy, chilled, kind of bit of groove, you know, sort of deep south. I was kind of like trying to explain it, like was talking to Miss about it. It's kind of got like that sort of deep south, sort of almost Jim Morrison sort of style at times, you know, with the singing. 3-piece, so you know, there's a guitarist and singer, bassist, loads of vocal harmonies, which I really liked. Loads of like songs starting off with like a minute-long bass kind of solo, that sort of stuff, and it was just really enjoyable. I really enjoyed it. I thought they were really, really good.
Yeah, we featured him in a run-up, so I kind of learned a little bit about him then. That what you just described fits what I understood as well. So tell us about Vended, because I didn't see Vended.
Vended. So, all right, so get the obvious stuff out of the way. You know, I was there because I wanted to see if, firstly, the fuss, because there's not as much fuss about some bands, but there is a bit of a fuss about this guys, and then secondly, because it's like, hey, it's Slipknot Sons. You know, which isn't entirely fair. But, you know, that's going to happen, isn't it? It's just the way it is. And I wasn't the only person thinking that, because like, where I was standing in the crowd, like everyone around me was like, oh, which one's Corey's son? Like, you know, it's all that anyway. They, to be fair to them, deserve the slot. I think they certainly looked like they belonged there. They threw a ton of energy into it, you know, lots of like fucking makeup and paint going on, the jumping around on stage and everything like that. You know, it's got that Slipknot kind of vibe. You know, it feels chaotic on the stage. There's like 5 or 6 of them. I don't even know how many there are, because they're moving around all the time. Musically, it's good. You know, there's a lot going on. The only issue I had is that I think after about 4 or 5 songs, it no longer felt like we were hearing the same songs on repeat. It started sounding quite samey. You know, they played a new song which was very good. Guy can sing, he can shout. But like the highlight of the whole thing for me was just when he went like, he said something about like, it's going to be the sickest fucking breakdown you guys have ever heard. And I was like, oh shit, here it comes. And it was like the lamest breakdown I'd ever heard. It was like, oh, but then I was like, maybe he was like joking. You know what I mean? I couldn't tell. It was like, if he was joking, then fucking brilliant, well played. If he wasn't, then you need to listen to more music, bro, because that was not the sickest breakdown in the world ever. I thought they did all right. You know, I think they're going to be a big band. You know, I think they got a big fucking future ahead of them, and not just because of who they are or who they know. I think they have real talent. They just need a back catalogue to back it up now.
I'm glad you had that experience then, really, because I had very little interest in seeing them. I can't even remember why I didn't go to see them. Maybe I was getting something to eat or whatever. I knew we were building up to interviews again. We had a shorter set of interviews. I think we did it for about an hour and then hung around for about half an hour, because some bands had said they'd come at 1:30 to see us because they weren't booked in, and then just didn't show up, wasting our time. Don't do that. If we tell you, I'll be about 1:30 and we'll carry on, come. Actually come, you know, because otherwise we just sat there, and we decided to give you a little bit of time, but you didn't show up. And at 2:00 we just went, nah, we're done. Close up shop. It is what it is. Don't do that. Anyway, we then all reunited after that for the New Blood stage, for what is going to be a fascinating conversation. Drip Fed Empire. I'll let you go first on this one.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I thought, like, you know, there are things I can, as a elderly gentleman, who also reviews music, I can appreciate. I can appreciate the fact that they were hyper energetic. I can appreciate the fact that they were very engaging with the crowd. Like I said, we, even despite not loving it, I still watched it to the end, and seeing them jump in the pits and run around the crowd and all that sort of stuff. Like, there's a lot of stuff there that ticks a lot of boxes that a lot of people are gonna like. My problem is really straightforward. I just don't like the music. It sucks balls. It's hyper energetic. I mean, I was like, some of it I was quite into, and I was like, this is all right, this is all right, it's all right. They lost me completely at the bit that they gained everyone else completely. It's one of those things, isn't it? We're like, oh, we're gonna mix like Rammstein with the Prodigy now, and I'm like, can you just like do your own shit? Like, do you have to do that? Like, and then I'm sitting there now, like in the fucking New Blood tent, surrounded by people shouting at Breathe and stuff like that, and it's like, oh god. So yeah, look, I can see, I'm not an idiot. I can see they were popular. I can see that they were good at what they do, but then fucking Backstreet Boys were good at what they did. Just doesn't mean I have to like it.
Fair enough. The reason why we kind of approach this one like this is because I have the opposite view. I thought they were fucking excellent. Completely won me over from the intrigue of this sounded when we did a reaction and we were like, how the hell is this going to work? I got to see how it would work. I was thoroughly impressed by how they delivered it, how they performed on the stage. All right, don't get me wrong. I wasn't a huge fan of the whole mashup thing either. I was more interested in their original music and stuff like that. But I get how like that will work in a sort of live environment to kind of thing. My biggest takeaway is this. I was very tired at this point. And after Drip Fed Empire, during Drip Fed Empire, I felt re-energized. Like, it proper fucking re-energized me. And that impressed me so fucking much that they managed to do that on a Sunday late afternoon. I was like, that's fucking spectacular. Well done, you. I thoroughly enjoyed it, enough so that I definitely want to see these guys live again in the future. So you're probably the number one band that we've got the most opposite view on the weekend, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. It's one of those things, man. I'm not like angry with them or anything like that. It's one of those things, isn't it? Like, not everything's for everybody. And I was all right with it. And that mashup thing killed me, man. That was the thing. That had the opposite effect for me than it did to you. I was enjoying what like, to a degree. I was enjoying what was going on. I was intrigued, if nothing else. I was interested. And then when that happened, that turned me from being quite energized to being like, oh, like it took everything out of me. I was like, ugh.
You checked out a little bit of Venom Inc., right?
Yeah, one of those like kind of slow passing, stop for a little bit, sort of thing. So not enough to like say they stole the show or they dropped the ball or anything like that. But I watched a couple of songs. It was what I expected. It was solid. They sounded good, So yeah, that's about all I've got on them.
No, fair enough. They're a solid band. I didn't see it. I don't remember seeing anything anyway. But Harriet, Sophie stage, this is what I was very excited to see. We're hitting this point in this sort of Sunday late afternoon, evening, where there was a couple of bands in a row. It was like these were the last major important ones that we were like, we're definitely going to see. And Harriet was up there for me. Bit modern chaotic metal. It was exactly what I expect from Harriet, with lots of melody, lots of slow passages, lots of dreaminess to them, while also being quite insane as well. Loved hearing them on the Sophie stage, because I expected, truth be told, I expected it to be quite busy, and it wasn't in the end. I think that's more of a thing that the heat was just killing people at this point. And there was almost a dread to going back inside the tents, because I don't know about you, but at times being outside the tent was more comfortable than in, because it was so like stifling. But I still thoroughly enjoyed Harriet. Did you see any of them?
I didn't see any Harriet. What I was doing around this time was pacing back and forward. Got some food and everything like that, getting ready for the next band I was going to see.
Well, let's bring them in then. It is, of course, one of the most anticipated bands of the weekend, Cattle Decapitation. Take it away.
I enjoyed every moment of this until I got annoyed with some people that we were with who kept bitching about his vocals.
Yeah.
I told them to shut up or I was going to fucking punch them. But aside from that, I enjoyed every minute of it. I thought they sounded exactly what I wanted them to sound like. Like, it's part chaos, but like also organized chaos. It wasn't perfect. There were some like I felt like the guitars were too low.
Yep.
That was one thing that stood out to me. I thought the drums and the vocals and everything sounded amazing, but the guitars weren't up at the same level, as in like you couldn't always hear the riffs and sometimes it felt like it was vocals and drums and bass, and it was like, where's that lead guitar gone?
Okay.
You know, I thought, and I do get like it's an acquired taste, you know, I do get that, but I thought he sounded fucking phenomenal on vocals. I thought he was menacing, prowling the stage, and people the finger, you know, like everything I kind of want Capitation to be. I don't want him to come out and give like a heartfelt speech about, you know, how happy he is and how beautiful everything is and everything. I want him to come out, give everyone the finger, and then fucking, you know, blast people. And that's what I felt like it was. It was what I wanted from a Decapitation show, you know. So yeah, I was very, very happy.
Fair. I agree. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was very conscious of like not letting my sort of tiredness run me down, and I really concentrated hard to kind of pay attention, because I was standing with you, and I sort of want to be able to give you feedback as well, and like say, hey, I really enjoyed it, and I thought they were great, and I thought they were fantastic. It was easily up there as one of the best bands of the weekend, particularly as well on a Sunday. Pointed out, being so tired, it's very hard for any band to really draw me in, and they managed to do that. Yeah. My one regret wish is I wish they were on a different day when I had a bit more life in me, and I think I would have
100%. From when they were announced, I felt the same. I was like, you know, it's Decapitation, man. I want to be drinking. I want to, you know what I mean? I want to be properly into it, you know, not kind of counting down the hours to home time.
That's it, yeah, because at that point we're not drinking either, of course, because we're driving home, and both of us have around a 3-hour trip with no traffic kind of thing. But you then went and checked out a wee bit of Il Nino.
Yeah, I watched like probably half their set, really, like probably 25, 30 minutes. I went in there, curiosity. I was instantly surprised by how fucking busy it was in there.
Yeah,
it was rammed, and I was like, oh shit, like maybe everyone's come to see like one song. And then they played that song first, the God Save Us.
Oh,
the very first track, they come out and they played that, and I was like, oh cool, everyone will leave now. But they didn't. And then they kept playing other songs, like including some I've never fucking heard. But they also played Liar, which is another one that I heard from the same album. And I realized around me that I was the anomaly, that these people were fucking into it. They were samba dancing. There was people throwing themselves around. The pit was huge. Everyone was bouncing. And I was like, oh, I didn't think this was meant to happen. So there you go. I thought they were a curiosity, but it turns out they're very fucking popular. The only mistake they probably made, like, was that at one point he said like he wanted to thank Rob Flynn, who's done apparently quite a lot for them, has been a good friend over the last few decades. And then he pointed to Rob Flynn, who was standing in the very visible part of the side stage, like you know, where the sofa tent on the right where we stand. So it's the bit you can see just over the fence, which then literally saw half of the tent just stop watching El Nino and all start zooming in cameras and taking pictures of Rob Flynn standing there. And it's, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, but then, yeah, so they got into it, and like I watched a couple more tracks, and I was like, you know, like trying to, I don't know, trying to pick up on the vibe that everyone else was getting, but it didn't happen for me. I saw that, you know, 2 of the songs that I knew from the past, and then watched a couple that I didn't know, and then that was kind of like, yeah, that's all right, we'll knock it on the head there.
I can understand about the business.
Fucking packed crowd. Yeah.
So we were going to get a big kind of last meal, me and my wife, during El Nino. We walked past the Sophie stage, and we both double taked. I went, what the fuck? Because it looked like it was 3 or 4 deep outside it. And we were like, is it actually El Nino, or is it going to be like, you know, another secret band that suddenly everybody like pretending to be El Nino? Like, why is it like 3 or 4 deep at the fucking front? And we're like, all right, well, fuck that then. Let's just get the food. Well, we did come back to the Sophie stage. Weirdly enough, we were both in the Sophie stage, but I don't think we both knew we were there, because we were there for Strigoi as well. They were awesome.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I thought they were fucking brilliant. Really, really good. Loved the slow circle pit. That was fucking hilarious. But, you know, aside from that little kind of comedy moment, it was just like proper good black metal. Yeah, so we watched all of it. Pretty much 15-20 minutes of it.
We did about the same.
Something like that. Yeah. But yeah, really enjoyed every minute of it, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Lovely to see them there. And my festival weekend, and I think yours as well, wrapped up with a little bit of Killing Joke. I ended up watching a little bit of Killing Joke, and kind of like, again, it's one of those things I wish I at that point, because like I'd already told my wife and son that, all right, listen, we're going to go in about 20-30 minutes and so on, kind of thing. And I ended up actually really enjoying a few songs and watching Killing Joke enough that I was like, I could probably stay a little bit longer. But it's like, oh no, they want to go, they're tired, let me get them home, kind of thing.
Yeah, we kind of treaded like a similar path at the end, just without realizing. I didn't know if you guys had gone or not. So like we also watched a bit of Killing Joke, quite enjoyed it. But then after that, the 2 or 3 songs we watched, and then we went and got food then. So that was like the difference between us. I think we then ate our food and then headed back. So
yeah, because at that point we'd separated before Strigoi, and we're like, oh yeah, we'll probably meet up later on before we go, kind of thing. And then I think we just hit a point where I think we walked around the shops a little bit, did the usual, there's nothing in these shops, they're the same shops every year. I don't want camo trousers, or I just don't. And then I think like it was just like, you know what, let's just make a move. Do you know what I mean? Like, and obviously knowing you, I'm not like, oh, Brendan's gonna cry if I didn't say goodbye to him. That kind of thing.
No, I'll be okay. You made the right move anyway. You essentially ended up leaving maybe 45 minutes before us, not much more than that. We both would have took probably the same route home all the way up to Dartford, except because we left 45 minutes after you, we hit the M1, which was closed overnight. So it's completely closed overnight. So it took us 7 hours to get home. We didn't get home till like 2:33 in the morning. So yeah, if we'd have left half an hour earlier, we would have got through before they closed the whole motorway and diverted us off into the country. We ended up driving through St. Albans and everything, like following this diversion route. So yeah, so the decision to leave when you did and not stay for Killing Joke saved you 4 or 5 hours of sitting on the motorway in static traffic waiting to get to the diversion.
Fucking hell. What a way to wrap that up. But of all those bands, I mean, listen to what we've just talked through. There was really, other than I think maybe the difference between Dripfed Empire, an occasional okay band like Cage Fight and things like that, and the occasional where I love something you didn't, or vice versa. That was an incredible weekend of music. As much to see the New Blood band stepping up and absolutely slaying it. So many great bands over there. To see the wide array of music across the Sophie and then the main stage. I think it's one of the best years for music at Bloodstock.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I had a wonderful time.
Absolutely. But before we go, top 3 bands of the weekend. Haven't got to be in order. It can just be the 3 best bands you think you saw over the entire weekend. So let's just throw out the first one that we both know. Very, very easy. One of mine is Avatar.
Yep, mine too.
You're gonna say it.
Yeah.
The second one for me is Mastiff.
The second one for me is Dark Tranquility.
Ooh, very interesting. Okay. All right. And that brings us to the third one. And this is an interesting one because there are a number of bands that can have it. In fact, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th could almost be joint. But I've chosen the spaces based on the experience, who we were around, how everybody reacted to it and all that. And I'm going to go with Fire Sky.
Oh, damn you for being cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I mean, I get what you're saying. Like there's a few bands that I could, but the problem is that I have my 3, and all these other bands, Imperium, Collective, Fire Sky, lots of others as well, would all easily vie for 4th place. Yep. But I can't not have Cattle Decapitation as my 3rd. Yeah.
It's not even, I completely get it. It really is so close because I have to leave out Imperium. I have to leave out Dripfed Empire. I have to leave out Collected. I have to leave out Pupil Slicer. So many great fucking bands, which shows caliber. I think we could easily do a top 10, but that's not for now. You know what to do. You got any thoughts on the bands we've talked about or bands you saw? Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favor, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror, and heavy metal. What else is life for?